Hey, y'all, Jim Pankey here. I don't do a lot of product reviews, and I have, a lot of Recording King stuff for obvious reasons. One, biggest reason is huge fan of Recording King. But, I don't do string reviews, and I use the picks that I use, and the gear is the gear. And the biggest thing for me has always been, use the stuff you like. Get used to the banjo you own, or get used to the type of case that you like. Buy things that you enjoy, that make you enjoy the process more. But there's, from time to time, it's fun to buy nice things, and it's fun to have a premium instrument, for instance. You can get by on your $200 banjo for a really long time, but at some point you feel like, hey, I'd like to treat myself, and I'd like to get something a little nicer. So you make an upgrade. So, like, this is my M5, my Recording King M5, and I got this in 2013, and it's a fine instrument. And it makes my experience playing better. I enjoy it. And you can buy nicer finger picks. You can get, a fancy strap. And these are accessories that just make you feel good. And you figure, you got a pricey instrument. It's nice to have a nice case. It's nice to have nice gear. So a piece of gear that just about every banjo player that I know uses is a capo of some sort. And I've always been fond of these cradle style capos. Let's see if I can do this and it'll focus. There you go. I've always been fond of this type of capo. First one I got was a really long time ago. I don't even remember what brand it was, but it was something in the late 70s, early 80s. But I tell you, I've used every kind of capo. I've used every kind of capo that you can imagine. But I really, when I started using these cradle styles, this was it, because you can put it on your banjo, and if you're not using it, then it can sit right up there above the headstock, and that's handy. And so somewhere along the line, I thought, well, I'm going to treat myself, and back in the 90s, I bought this. It's a McKinney, and that was the one. And I bought this. I got it for myself for my birthday. It was a treat to me, from me, and it works the same way. It just goes on when you're not using it. It just slides right up there above the headstock. It just rests right there. It's out of the way, and I'm not going to lose it. And I've lost capos in the past simply because, well, I didn't have one that latched. And so these don't come, while they solve a lot of problems, they don't solve all the problems. And one of the things that I notice when I use like this McKinney, or like the Page that I showed you, is when I put it on, you can tighten it up, you make sure it's where it's supposed to be, and then you kind of have to rock it a little bit to make sure that it's got all the strings pressed evenly. And it's not a big deal, but if you don't do that, you'll find yourself reaching up there and just touching it to make sure, like the next break you get, you don't have a string that's going, that's dead. There we go. And see, it's tight enough, but it really needs to, and that's not a fault of the capo. That's just the way it's made. It's fault of the user. If I don't get it put on right and tension just right, then I'm going to get dead notes. But recently, I stumbled across a capo by G7 called, it's their Heritage model capo, and let me show you it. It looks very similar, same kind of deal. It's pretty. It's got this, now I know you're immediately going to say, well, Jim, that's bigger. And it is a little bigger. It has a little larger profile. The screw is definitely bigger on the Heritage. But the difference with the Heritage, this screw doesn't go in and out. It just stays in place while the yoke, or whatever this bit's called, moves. So that's a neat feature, and it's a fancy thing. But as far as the rest of the Capo goes, it's pretty much, it's kind of the same profile as far as width goes and all of that. So it while it is just a little bigger than the McKinney that I got, it's very similar in size to the Page. So, you're going to look these up, and you're going to say, dang, you spent that much for a Capo, but, it's not something that you do often. But one of the things I like about this, and it works the same way, because on the Banjo, it will live, it lives right up there above the nut. It's not in the way in any shape, form, or fashion. I never go past the nut, so it's not a problem. But when I slide this one down the Capo, I don't have to rock it. It's designed where you don't have to rock it. What's going on is the pads in it, they tilt. The pad in it is designed in such a way that it will tilt and get your strings fretted properly, and you don't have to rock and twist on it to make sure. All you have to do is just tighten it up enough, and then boom, you're ready to go. And I don't have to rock it. I don't have to worry about it fretting one string harder than it is another. And this is called the Heritage Capo. And I've been using this one now, since January. So I've had it several months, and it has been my primary Capo that I've been using. I put my McKinney on my old-time Banjo, which I almost never Capo, and I still use the Page on my RK35, but I'm probably going to replace it soon with one of these, because it just makes things so much simpler for me. But it's a little tiny thing, but I really do enjoy it. And so that's what it looks like on the Banjo. There's what it looks like from the back. I mean, it's a nice piece of gear. It's fancy. It is pretty. And, the operation of it is smooth as silk, and it just looks good. And you got a nice Banjo. Why not buy some nice gear to go with it? And that's just my slant on this thing. Does it work better than the other Capos? Other than the fact that, it's delicate and it's light, and it just sits there and does exactly what it's supposed to do when it's supposed to do it, and I don't have to rock it. Yeah, the others work just fine. I mean, I've used this McKinney since like the mid-90s. 25 years. I've used this for 25 years or longer without a problem. I just know when I put it on, I rock it. Will I use this one for 25 years? Chances are I will. I mean, I don't see any reason why I would ever need to replace it. And I'm still using the McKinney, but I really like this Heritage from G7. So if you're looking for a nice piece of gear, I mean, give it a look. Yeah, you might have a little bit of sticker shock, but if you're gonna buy one and you're gonna put it on your Banjo and you're gonna leave it there, it's the last one you have to buy. It's a buy it for life kind of thing. So check them out, G7 Capo. Maybe you'll like them, but that's what I'm using because, well, dadgummit, I'm worth it. You are too. All right, we'll see y'all. Bye.